This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or exclusive Patreon-only gameplays, plus a myriad of other perks, then check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. Couple of Golgari commanders, Meren of Clan Toth versus Skullbriar the Walking Grave. Well, no lands there, so we'll have to get rid of that, and... okay, yeah, well that's not great, but it's better. I think I need to go back through this deck and fine-tune it a bit more. There's some cards in here that I would rather were other cards, like that Whip of Erebos. I think I actually need to make that, what is it called? The Phyrexian Green artifact that allows you to sack a creature and shoot it for something with +1 CMC. Forget the name of it. Well, I built this deck many years ago and I don't think I've updated it since then. Let's just drop a forest and pass. Nothing else for us to do. Song of the Dryads onto our opponent's commander might be good. We'll certainly test out how many removal cards they have. And they take a turn off, getting the bounce land out. Always risky to get a turn 2 bounce land out. We do have Wasteland in this format. Vampiric Shooter into a Sol Ring isn't the worst. Let's go for a Swamp there. Don't want to help out my opponent with an Urborg. And there is our opponent's Skullbriar. We're going to take a hit for 1 here. That does have haste. How does it get the plus counters? Whenever it deals damage to a player, put a plus counter on it. And they've got Nephalia Academy as well. Okay, so that's only on abilities that your opponents control. I don't think we're causing our opponent to discard much anyway. Oh, apart from, we've got the Mind Slicer. It does get cards out of their hand still, but it doesn't put them into the graveyard. So we take a hit for 1 there. Now, does a Sol Ring actually help us? We could go for Solemn next turn and accelerate even more. We go drop a land, play Sol Ring, and then we're still online for Solemn. And we can hold off on Song of the Dryads for a turn. Yeah, let's go for the Sol Ring here, because we do want to get a green mana into play. Drop a land, drop the card we just tutored for, and we'll hopefully keep our opponent from swinging in with Solemn. Just hoping that my opponent doesn't get into Sword of Feast and Famine. I don't think, as it stands now, no, they'd only have 4 mana with a land. So unless they get Ancient Tomb or Mana Crypt or something, they can't play and equip Protection from Green. Because if they do get Protection from Green, then that's our Song of the Dryad switched off. But we've got Solemn to block with, and we should be able to consistently play that, thanks to Meren. So let's get out of Forest here and pass over. Now on 7 mana next turn. And actually, I forgot about Awakening Zone, so even if they do get this sort of Feast and Famine out, we can block with these creatures as well because they're colourless. Let's trade our opponent, the Solemn Simulacrum. They can play a land and replay their commander here if they like, but that will cost them mana. We get into a Reanimate, so if we're desperate we can play that on the Solemn. They do get into another land, bumping them up to 4 mana. Yeah, I'm not sure I would have thrown away my commander there, but I don't know what else you can do in this deck really. Perhaps they're just desperate to get the Solemn out of the way. We've got a Playcrafter now as well. Give our opponent some more black mana with the Urborg, and let's go for Meren. And then Playcrafter is a really nice way of not only dealing with our opponent's commander, but also getting another death counter. So I think that's our opponent dealt with pretty much. Don't want to count my chickens, but they've already thrown their commander away once. Another experience counter for us, and I will grab back the Solemn back into hand. Oh, that's our first experience counter, of course. When Solemn died, Meren wasn't in play, so we've only got 1 experience counter thus far. Should be able to get more of those going with the Awakening Zone next turn. And it just so happens that Meren is a good blocker for Skullbriar currently. Our opponent does have a full grip of cards, so they should be able to do something here, even if it's just removal for Meren. Okay, that is an Undergrowth Champion. Landfall and plus counters. And they have Yavimaya Hollow for regeneration. Then just tapping out, showing us that they don't have anything. And we get into another land, so let's go for the Solemn. Not having too much luck getting into green mana, so Solemn's done us some good work here. 2 of the green mana we wouldn't have had without it. And we'll drop an Awakening Zone. And then we could reanimate on the Playcrafter to get rid of that thing, but I don't really feel the need to do that, to be honest. Let's swing in at our opponent and get a plus counter removed from that thing. We can easily remove this thing with the Playcrafter, so I'm not too worried. We're going to get Playcrafter back into our hand at the end of the turn. They decide to take it, so they want to keep their plus counter on that thing. Playcrafter goes back into our hand, ready to deal with whatever creature they play out. If they want to keep this thing, they do need to get another creature into play. Regenerate doesn't work with sacrifice creators. They do get another land, so they can play their commander out if they want to. And I think this is where throwing their commander into a Solemn Simulacrum is going to hurt them. They could have played out their commander for 4 mana here and held up the regeneration. It's funny how tiny little potential mistakes like that can hurt the game for you. I've done things like that myself plenty of times. Ooh, a Glisser, that's a really good one. Yeah, making a Glisser deck at some point might be an idea. Okay, going in for the big creature swinging in. We'll just get another card draw with Solemn. Don't mind that one bit. We're actually going to have enough experience counters to get out a Playcrafter next turn. Oh, actually, we could sacrifice one of our Eldrazi spawn, and the Playcrafter dying will give us 4 experience counters, which means we can get out a Solemn every turn. Drawing into another land, and a Living Death we're not going to make use of just yet. So let's go for... This triggers on one of our creatures dying, doesn't it? Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, well, they don't have any artifacts to grab anyway. So let's just force them to sack something. They sack the Glisser. And then we'll probably grab back... we'll go for Solemn. I don't think this is a particularly competitive game, is it? So we'll go for a tap land there with Overgrown Tomb. Sack the Eldrazi spawn just to get another experience counter. And then we'll swing in at our opponent with Meren. And we'll go after that Solemn again. The more lands we get with this, the less likely we are to draw into them, although that theory doesn't really seem to be panning out this game. Drawn a lot of lands. Grab another forest because all of our lands tap for black already thanks to Urborg. Another land and another plus counter on that thing. Followed by a Kodama's Reach, so our opponent roughly keeping up with us on mana. They've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They'll have 8 mana with this thing. Then they have a 9th land to play next turn. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we're at roughly the same amount of mana. And then it's more of the same. Solemn Simulacrum blocking to give us some card draw and an experience counter on death. If they play another creature here, then it switches off our Playcrafter. I might go for that next turn just so that we can put this creature out of its misery. Okay, there is Mikaeus the Unhallowed. That is really good with Solemn. So it might be worth going for Mikaeus the Unhallowed, reanimate on Solemn, and allow Meren to bring back Playcrafter. But we'll see if our opponent plays another creature. Oh, and Sakura Tribalder as well. That's an all-star in this deck. Let's play Mikaeus first of all. Then we can reanimate the Solemn. We'll go for the plan that we mentioned earlier. That will get us yet another green source. Then might as well play the Sakura Tribalder. We'll actually get 2 activations off of this thanks to Mikaeus. So finally showing off what the deck wants to do. Get a death counter. And then Sakura Tribalder comes back in with Undying. So this is 2 forests. We'll do it again. Yeah, don't get to play with Mikaeus the Unhallowed all that often. So it's good that I'm getting to show why it's in here. Meren comes in. It's noteworthy that Meren doesn't have Undying because she is a human. Would have been really good having Mikaeus be able to give your commander Undying. Make it really difficult to remove, especially in a deck like this. And now we reanimate the Plague Crafter. All we're missing now is a sack outlet, really. Go for the Plague Crafter and finally get rid of that thing. This won't come in with Undying either because that also is a human. We will sacrifice it just in case we need to use it again because we don't have a sack outlet currently, as we've already been over. And now we can start doing some big damage to our opponent next turn. What will that be? That is 6, 11, 12. Yeah, so 2 swings in with all of this. And that should be game. Our opponent playing his commander and then holding up a regeneration shield should buy them another turn or 2. Although we'd be able to get it out of the way with Playcrafter, wouldn't we? And the Song of the Dryad, so yeah, I think it's just a couple of turns and we win here. Our opponent may have a board wipe, but we've got Living Death as well. Obnixilis Unshackled. Luckily we've used a lot of our search functions already. Couldn't have made use of the Sakura Tribalder with this in play. And our fetches will tap for mana thanks to Urborg, so I'm not too worried about Obnixilis this late in the game. But it does keep us from swinging in. Mikaeus has Intimidate, which doesn't matter against a black creature. And Shriekmaw doesn't do anything against it either. I think it's time to just use the Song of the Dryads. We're not going to worry about the Skullbriar, because we can get rid of that easily enough anyway. So now we can start swinging in at our opponent, try and put him out of his misery. Knocking him down to 9, let's go for Meren onto Sakura Tribalder. Not going to bother sacrificing it and stuff. If we can just turn everything sideways and win next turn, I will do that. We've got 8 experience counters now, so I think we could reanimate pretty much anything that we managed to get into the bin. Oh, a Terastodon, that's good. Alright, so our opponent isn't out of it yet. We do have Living Death, like I said, so we might be able to make use of it. Alright, surprisingly, going for Awakening Zone, Sol Ring. This can go for creatures, can't it? Oh no, it can't. It's non-creature permanent. I thought that could go for any permanent like Beast Within. Okay, fair enough. They're just giving us a bunch of beasts. I think we go wide on them next turn either way. Our beasts will be, or elephants I should say, will be 4/4s thanks to Mikaeus. That gives +1/+1 to non-humans. Then again, tapping out. Let's see if they swing in with Obnixilis. Just in case we don't have enough damage, I haven't actually bothered to work it out. I'm just going to go for a sack on Sakura Tribalder to put a plus counter on it. That comes back with Undying. And we will actually lose 10 life to Obnixilis here. But it doesn't matter. We'll grab a forest yet again. That is 10 life we lose. And Obnixilis gets a plus counter on it. Oh, and we sack a creature as well. I forgot about that clause. Well, we'll sack the... No, we won't sack the Solemn because we'll lose 10 life again. Let's just sack a Spawn. Yeah, so that actually didn't pan out, did it? Because we lost 1 power from the Spawn just to gain 1 power from the Sakura Tribalder. Completely forgot about the sacrifice a creature clause. I thought it was just lose 10 life. Tokens don't come back with Undying, even though they do trigger Undying. Get yet another land. That is a recurring theme here, isn't it? Let's go for the Shriekmaw to get the Terastodon out of the way, just to make sure we've got enough damage. I think we have enough damage even if Terastodon does block, but just in case, we'll go for that. Another plus counter on Obnixilis. More counters on Obnixilis, and then all we do is swing him. And it doesn't matter how they block here. Let's actually work it out. 4, 8, 12. Oh, we had enough damage just on these elephants getting through, so didn't need to go through all that rigmarole apparently. Obnixilis will get even bigger when the Mikaeus dies, but they go down to -13. Yeah, Obnixilis actually showing off how good a card it is there. This is an underplayed card in my opinion, and I've actually never played it myself. It does switch off your opponents from using things like fetches and demonic tutors and all that kind of thing, but it also turns off cultivates and Sakura Tribe Elders. So if you're in a heavy green meta where they search for lands a lot and ramp ahead of you, then Obnixilis Unshackled is a really good one that will switch off a lot of their deck. Anyway, wasn't a particularly enthralling Meren game, but I did show off a little bit of what the deck can do, especially with Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Don't get to play with that one very often. So we got to see how much value we got out of both Mikaeus and Meren with the Solemn Simulacrum and the Sakura Tribe Elder. So hopefully you all enjoyed that one. You can let me know if you want to see more Meren gameplay. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.